Hello everyone, you are welcome to Build Pro Global Enterprise YouTube channel, where we teach and do all that relates to building design and construction. Today I would like us to learn how to dimension in AutoCAD. I'm using AutoCAD 2018 version. But what we are going to learn today is applicable to other versions of AutoCAD. Now I have a set of shapes right now that is visible on my computer. I want us to learn how to dimension each of these shapes. There are different types of dimensions in AutoCAD. A dimension simply shows the length of a drawing or an object in AutoCAD. To dimension, you simply go to the Home tab. We already learned the various parts of AutoCAD in previous lessons that's getting used to AutoCAD 2018 user interface. If you have not learned that, you are not aware of it, I will leave a link. You can go back and watch and familiarize yourself with AutoCAD 2018 user environment, which is similar to other versions of AutoCAD. Versions released from the year 2009 upwards up to the current version, which is 2021. We have similar user interface. Okay, so you are familiar with one, you can as well be able to work with the other versions. Okay, now to dimension in AutoCAD, you go to the Home tab. These are tabs. We have Home, Insert, Annotate, Parametric, View, Manage, right up to Featured Apps. They are the menu tabs, and these are the commands under the Home tab. Okay, the Home tab is already selected. Now if I click Insert tab, you can see that every other thing here changed. I click Annotate and Parametric. So should in case you want to dimension and you didn't see your dimension icon right where these icons are, you come back to Home here and click on Home. Now these icons here, commands will come up. Dimension is under this group of icons here that is called Annotation. This is where to dimension. You can see it here as well. But this other icon here gives you a variety of various types of dimensions that you need. So to dimension, you simply come to, you can see dimension here. It's a linear dimension. You click on this little arrow by the side of this linear dimension. If I click on it, here is a drop down of the various types of dimension. We have the linear dimension, that is if you want to dimension in a straight line, have a line, have angular, arc, radius, diameter, and the rest. So from here to here are the major ones that I've been using to dimension my drawings and shapes in AutoCAD. So I'm going to learn how to use the whole of these types of dimension in AutoCAD. Now let me click outside, click on an empty space. The second place where you can find dimension is on this menu tab, Annotate. You can come back to Annotate here, click on Annotate, come to this group where you have dimensions. You can see you have dimension here, there's linear dimension here as well. Click on this this bar behind here that is highlighted. If I click it, they give me more options. Now if I want to dimension linear dimension, I'll come to this place. If I click on this little arrow by the side, I will as well have the same type of dimensions that I had when I was on the Home tab. Let me click outside to take away this. Click here. Let me go back to Home. Alright, to dimension, let's start dimensioning this first shape here. Let's say we want to know the length from here to this side, and also dimension all through. Now this is a linear dimension. This is in a straight line. So to dimension it, simply come to this place where we have linear dimension. I'll click on the little arrow by the side here. Now on this drop down, I'll click on linear dimension here. Now if I come to workspace, right on top of my cross here, crosshair, that cross that I'm shaking right now, you can see it's written there, specify first extension line origin. So AutoCAD is asking you to click on the first point where you want your dimension to start. So we want to start dimensioning from this point to this point. Okay, now to start the dimension, I'll simply come to the edge to be sure that I'm on the edge. If I come on it, you can see a little square pops up there that is like green in color. That shows me that I'm right on that angle on the point. So to dimension, I'll click on this point. Let me click once. Now I'll now move to the next point. You can see me moving. I'm not dragging, I'm simply moving my mouse. I'm not pressing any button at all. I'll now come to the next point here and click as well. I'll click once. Okay, now as I click, you can see the dimension came out here in the middle. The next and the last thing you need to do to dimension is you can now move away from your line. Like in this instance, I will go up. I'm moving away from it. You now choose a reasonable distance away from this object and now click. Okay, so you can see that's how to dimension. Let me reiterate that again. Click on the first point, the second point, then you now move away from the item you want to dimension, either up or down, and click. So you can see I've dimensioned this part. That's how to dimension. Let me zoom on it. You can see it's 7,500 millimeters. That's 7.5 meters. So in the same way, I'm going to dimension the other parts going around like that. As a shortcut in AutoCAD, whatever last command you did, when you simply press the space bar on your keyboard, it will bring up that command again. As it is now, the last command I did was dimension. So if I want to bring dimension, instead of going back and clicking here, before I come and click on linear, I can still stay out from where I am right now, and I'll click spacebar. Let me tap spacebar on my keyboard right now. I've tapped spacebar. So you can see that the dimension command came up. Okay, so these tips or shortcuts is very useful if you are using AutoCAD. It saves you time. So to continue dimensioning, after pressing my spacebar, I'll now come to this point. I want to dimension this object round. So I've done the first one. Second one, I'll come to this where these two lines meet here. Let me zoom it so that I can see clearly. Now I click at this point, I reduce my zoom, I take it up and click here. Now this time I'm going to move this way because this line is vertical. So I can't go up. I have to move either to the left or to the right. So I'm going to the left, I'll click. So this dimension is 3,005. Okay. So you can see that I've dimensioned the whole of this shape, okay, using the linear form of dimension. Alright, that's how to dimension in AutoCAD. It's as easy as that. It's a rule of thumb. Just know that if you pick the dimension command, there are 3 things you need to do. Click on the first point, click on the last point, then the third thing is you move away, click it at reasonable distance to place the dimension. So it's as easy as that. Now, this next shape is a cycle, okay? If I want to dimension a cycle, let me go back to where I have my various types of dimension here. If I click on this little arrow, if I want to dimension a cycle is not linear, it's a curve. So I can't use this particular one. Let me click on it. If I say I want to use it, I click here. You can see that it won't go around because the dimension is linear. So I need to pick another type of dimension. Let me hit escape on my keyboard or spacebar. It will take away this command. So I'll press on escape. It's gone. And to dimension a cycle, I simply come here and click. Okay. You can either find the diameter and radius. Diameter is simply the distance of one point of the cycle passing through the middle or center right to the other point. Radius is a point from the center of the cycle to anywhere on the circumference. Okay, an arc is simply a part of a cycle, just like this one we have here. These two are arc. So to find the properties of this cycle, like the diameter and radius, I'll come to this dimension. Now click on, let me start with radius. If I click on radius, all you need to do is simply click on the circumference of the cycle, as easy as that, without anything. Okay, you now click outside. You can see that the computer dimensioned the cycle. This is the middle right to this place. So the radius is 5,933. That's 5.9 meters. So it's as easy as that. If I need to know the diameter, I simply come back here and click on diameter. Then I'll look for any point on the cycle and click. If I click on it here, you can see that the computer automatically drew the diameter passing through the cycle. If I click outside, you can see the length of the diameter, which is 11,866. Okay, so that's how to dimension a cycle. The next thing here is an arc. We have 2 types of arc here. To dimension this arc here, I can simply come back to where I have my dimensions here. You can see that the last command I pick will usually appear here. Okay, so don't think the linear dimension is the one that will always appear here. This particular one here. Now let me come to arc length. Click on arc length. Now come on this arc and click and move away. Now this is the length of the arc, which is 26.442 meters. Okay, So that's the dimension of this arc. I can also find the degrees. Okay, this arc is at how many degrees by simply coming to this place and finding or looking for the angle. I click on angular dimension. I still click on it again like this. Just come either inside or outside, it's still the same thing. Let me come through the inside. I'll click on it. So it's 255 degrees. That means from this point right to here is 255 degrees. That's assuming we have a line passing from this side down like this to the middle and coming right away like this. And let's come to this other arc and do the same thing. Let me first measure the length of the arc, which I'll use this command here, arc length. Just click on it and place it. I'll have and see it's 10.6 meters. To find the angle, I'll come back here. I'll click on angular. Now click on it. And it gives me 103 degrees. Okay. Now coming to this shape, to dimension this shape, I cannot use either the linear, the angular, arc length, or whatsoever command. What I need to use is the align. Okay, because this part here, as you are seeing here, is neither horizontal nor vertical. So the linear dimension, that is this one, can only be used for horizontal and vertical members. Okay, so to dimension an aligned member like this, that is at an angle to the horizontal, we need to use this align function. So I'll click on it. Now, just like the first method, how we dimension this place here, I'll click on the first point where I want to set my dimension, the second point, and now move away from the object to a reasonable distance and click OK. So it's approximately 10 meters. I'll do the same thing. Click here, click on the first point, second point, and click away. I can simply tap on my spacebar to bring back the align command. Tapping on spacebar, click on first point, click on second point, click away. The same thing, tap my spacebar, click on first point, second point here, third point. I'll tap on my spacebar to bring back the command, click on first point, second point, then I'll click away. Okay, so you can see that it's of the same length. Okay, approximately 10 meters. This object is also an align object. Can click on the same command here, align, and now click here. That's the first point. Click here, the second point, and place the dimension outside here. Now this one is a horizontal member. I can still use the align dimension command to dimension here. It will still give me the same distance if I use linear. So to be on the safer side, we're going to use the linear dimension style. So let me click on linear. I'll click on my first point. I'll click on the second point. I'll now move away from it to a reasonable distance and click. So this is the distance. So you can see that align dimension can be used on linear members. Okay, but linear dimension can be used on members that are inclined or aligned. Alright, now let's come to a real drawing here. This is a drawing of a 3-bedroom bungalow. If I want to dimension this, these are grid lines of this building. This is a 3-bedroom bungalow I did earlier on. To dimension this is linear, so I will pick the dimension style, that's the linear style, and just start clicking here all over and come to this side. Now let me click on it. I'll click on linear dimension here. To start drawing the first dimension, I'll click here, move to the next point, I'll click, then I can move away, or simply wherever it is I can place it if the distance is okay. But let me bring it down a bit to this point. I'll not click it. Now what happens if I want to draw another dimension here, and at this point, and at this point, and at this point, like this, right up to the end? Will I keep going back and forth, picking my dimension command, like coming here again, clicking here like this, and placing it like that up to this place? It will really be a very tedious work if I keep on doing that. How about in situations that have up to 20 grids? You see that doing the dimension one after the other will be a very tedious work and will not be feasible. So not to waste my time, let me delete this dimension. I'm going to delete this by highlighting it. Okay, I highlight the whole of it like this. Then I can use my eraser here, or you tap on your delete key on your keyboard. So let me use this and click it, that's gone. So I want to show you how to create repeated dimensions in a situation where you have multiple dimensions like this. If you want to dimension, is the linear dimension I'm going to do here. So I'll click on the linear dimension first. I will do the first one, click the first point, click on the second point, then I'll place my command. Now to let AutoCAD give you the command to fill up these other dimensions right to the end, you come to this annotate tab. We have a tab here, annotate. Remember I told you the whole of this place here is what we call tab. Okay. Now I'll click on annotate. I come to this place. You can see this command here. We have continue. So I'll select this one. I want to draw a line. That is, I want to continue from where I stopped. That is the last dimension I did here. After drawing one, come to annotate and now click here and click continue. If I click continue, you can see that it immediately snaps to the end of where I stopped. So I'll now move away to the next point here and click. If I click, it will automatically take me to the next place. I click like that. You keep clicking, 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 clicking like that until the very end. As I reach the end, I can simply tap on the escape key on my keyboard or press the space bar. Let me press the space bar, then the command will go away. Alright, that's how to dimension in AutoCAD. Thank you for watching. If you found this video useful, please subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button below. You can as well give it a thumbs up, share and comment in the comment section below. See you next time. Bye.